Co-hosted and curated by Rania Al-Sadek and Oscar Badibanga, What's in Your DM is a podcast that brings intellect and flair to the varied topics of our culture. Drawing from their diverse and global upbringings, they explore fashion, music, sport, art, and beyond.
Welcome to episode 7. What's
Episode
up,
7
Oscar?
already. That's a really good thing, right?
Yeah.
By the way, we actually start a year ago, right?
Yeah,
You know that
Music
you didn't even celebrate our first anniversary.
I know. We are
What the fuck is
celebrating
that?
by a special guest tonight. He didn't want us to use the word
Sorry, I type on
special,
my mail.
just with a guest.
Yeah,
He's actually
but for us, he is.
he is. He's special because mainly because we've known each other for so long. And I think
Truth. Yeah.
before we even started the episode, we were kind of discussing and seeing. I don't know how long you guys have known each other, but maybe we introduce him
Yeah,
first.
let's introduce him
right?
first.
Welcome, Omar.
Welcome,
I
Omar.
swear, guys are
My phone is Omar C.
seriously.
What, like
Yeah.
the actor?
Yeah.
but
Oh,
it's funny
she
because
knows the reference. Huh?
Yeah,
Of
she
course.
knows.
Okay,
Yes.
nice.
Thanks to Netflix.
Yeah,
Yeah,
him and
that's
I are
true,
exactly
actually.
the same. The only difference is that he's
Yeah.
taller.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just taller.
Just
That's
taller.
it.
That's it.
You thought
Yeah.
that you. I'm part Senegalese.
Really?
Just so you know,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
True story.
Actually, I know that.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of know a lot, huh?
Check the nose.
He's not
Yeah.
just North African. He's African.
Exactly.
Hey, Jean, it's
You like
Senegalese. All right, thank you for having me, guys.
Well,
This
thank
is
you.
This is fun. Oh my
From
god.
So where do we start, guys? I think there's a lot to talk about today, but
First, actually, because something that I don't know, again, about you. How do you guys know each other?
so actually, Omar was one of my very first clients when I moved to Dubai. I was working for an agency, and we pitched for Roger de Wiyd.
Yes.
Wow.
And Omar
I
at the
can tell
time
you-
was the director or GM there.
That was
2007,
No.
8.
April, May 08. April or
Eight.
May 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
good memory.
We were all babies, but so
yeah, you know, big important milestones in life.
yeah.
Exactly.
Meeting Rania. Important.
No, but I will never forget that office. I can't remember where it was, but it was a crazy location. But then there was
Okay.
this the door was like a safe, like
Yeah.
a massive bank
Reinforced
safe,
steel, and because that's where all the you see,
watches and everything was
all
there.
the inventory of all
Yeah.
the brands of the group were behind that
Yeah.
door.
Oh, it was that.
We were like, where are we going? You know? So that's how we met. And I think actually that, and then there was a specific moment that I will never forget as well. Like, I loved watches, but my real passion for watches, I think, came thanks to Omar giving us I don't want to say tutorial, but it was like a real insight into what makes watches great.
Okay.
Whether it's complications or
Yes.
working on enamel, like I will never forget this.
So that
we
actually
had a 2-hour
happened.
session.
So that happened with other colleagues from other brands who were still new in the industry, and at the time I was besides my job running Roger Dubuis, I was also the regional delegate, so representative of the Fondation pour la Haute
Yes,
Horlogerie.
we did an event.
And
we
we
did
did
a
an
press
event
conference.
with them with Pascal.
Yes,
100%. And so in that role, I was kind of mandated to promote
What watchmaking,
horlogerie and
yeah.
fine watchmaking and what it means and all the stuff that goes into that,
Yeah.
for people to stop saying it's expensive.
Well,
It's not.
you were definitely
It's
the
not.
right person
It
when
really
you
is
know
not.
what goes into it. Like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
remember some of the numbers, like enamel, like that painting. It's like so small. At the time, there were only 12 people who did that in the world. I don't know how many are left. But-
No, thankfully there are more now because so the FHH, so the Fondation pour la Haute Horlogerie, is a non-profit organization that's based in Geneva, and their role is to promote the different métiers, the different crafts related to the Swiss watchmaking industry.
Yeah.
So enameling is one of them, engraving is another, beveling, etc., etc. And they've been at it for the good part of the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And they're financed basically. So they are the ones who organize. You remember SIHH?
Yes,
They're
of
the
course.
ones who organize it. Now Watches and Wonders, they are involved in it. I don't know if they're in charge of the full organization, and so they are financed because brands basically give them an annual
Yeah, I mean, it's like the
contribution.
fashion week of watches, SIHH, and
Yeah,
it
100%.
really is.
Who is
Yeah.
that happening?
Well, January is the watches and
And now, so
oh, they moved it.
so there was SIHH in Geneva for a certain number of brands, and
Yeah.
the much bigger thing was Basel World 2
Yes,
months after.
Basel World.
So
Sorry,
it was
yes.
January and March, and then a few years ago, I can't say when, maybe 2019, 2020, they merged into Watches and Wonders. That happens in
In
Geneva,
Geneva, April.
end of March, early April.
Yeah. I was
Uh,
there when I was like, wow, everyone was there. The whole city gets activated with watches.
Yeah,
so-
I mean, now you have
Yeah.
lots of collectors from all around the world
Yeah.
who actually go to Watches and Wonders to see the novelties, meet the brands,
Yeah.
the watchmakers, and all of that. And so back to the FHH, they're the guys organizing that, and they've done a splendid job because a lot of youth started getting
Into it.
interested into watchmaking. And funny story, Christmas, your place, not this year, the year past.
Mhm.
We were with Adrien, our friends of Shewam,
Mhm.
the chef, and his nephew.
Yeah.
And I was having a chat with his nephew who was just graduating high school and he wasn't too sure what he wanted to do. And I'm chatting with him, and this is like way past midnight. And you were on your iPad playing tunes and whatever. And I'm like, what do you feel like doing? What's interesting to you? And the guy says mechanics. And he wanted to be a car mechanic. And I'm like, are you really passionate about it? He was like, I like to understand how things work.
Mm.
Cars is something else. And I told him, look, I don't know about cars, I know watches. And trust me, maybe you should look into it.
And
Alright,
he
so
did.
that was December 2023 or 2022. Don't remember.
Yeah. So 22, I think.
22. All right. I completely forgot about it. A year and a half go by. I receive a random WhatsApp from Adrien, which, sometimes because my phone is always blowing up with WhatsApp messages because of what I do. So sometimes I read something, and if I don't consider it as requiring an immediate response, it just gets deleted,
Yeah.
right? And I completely forgot about it. Fast forward to 2 months ago, Adrien organizes a barbecue at his place. I go. There's his mom. There's his brother. We're having a chat, and his brother starts thanking me for creating a new passion for his son. I'm like, what the fuck is he on about? And it turned out that this is an example of a youth
Who is now involved?
who got involved into the watchmaking industry. So now he works in the atelier of horlogerie of Hermès in Paris.
Wow.
And he's learning the skill, the craft, and I'm sure he's going to do great. And it's a vocation. It's a vocation.
But that's something. I mean, look, that's something about I think how to convey a message, how to get someone passionate through your passion. So I think that's a really admirable trait to have. But so yeah, we met to work, but we became friends. I met Linda as well, obviously, and yeah,
Different family.
and that was really it. And then we.
You were here at Adam's baby shower, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean,
You were there, right?
I have seen
Oh, wow.
the kids.
And
Oh, yeah,
he's
actually.
13 now.
Yeah, he is so cute. He came up to me and was like, Adam, I was like, I know who you
Co-founder.
are. Exactly.
Big boss.
Really,
Owner.
no, really, but I told it, it's such like a presence, it's really, it's really sweet. So
That's how it started.
you guys,
But we talked about it just earlier, and actually it's good that we actually have the same time in our head.
The
So-
same memory.
the same memories.
Yeah.
no, actually,
No,
I
but
met
I'm like,
you.
sometimes I'm like, oh, but I met you in 2013. No, I met you in 2011. Some people.
Well,
are
those
like,
Yeah, yeah.
times were the part
Yeah, exactly.
where everyone was just.
No, me it used to be
You were-
Adrian again. Keep telling me every time I'm asking him, who are you? Say I'm at Omar and Linda. And I'm like, but who Oh, Omar and Linda, every time I'm asking you something, I'm at Omar and Linda, Omar and Linda. Anyway, one night we go for a party on the rooftop, electric days at that time. And he said, oh, by the way,
Hang on.
well,
Which place
Dubai
was that?
Media City.
the Media City, yes.
Dubai
in,
Media
Media
City.
One?
Media,
no,
no,
in,
not
in
Media
front of
One.
Media One. We had an hotel in the Radisson.
Oh my god!
The Radisson.
Radisson,
The
Radisson.
the
Oh my
Radisson.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Radisson Blue on
I think
the...
I went once or twice to that
Mm.
place
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a party.
My brother Hamza had just moved to Dubai with Muna,
Muna.
and you know, they're the youngest ones, the younger ones, and they made us go out, you know, with Linda. I mean, Linda didn't need a lot of pushing,
at that time,
a
I
lot
don't
of
think that
convincing.
none
You
of us
did
need a
those-
lot, huh?
Huh?
No,
That
Omar,
time, none of
maybe.
us did a lot, huh?
No, I never really liked going out.
Okay.
He's been a grandpa from
Exactly,
from
from me, but I
Yeah,
never
I've
realized
always
that.
been 40.
No, and then so we met there, and crescendo. I mean, the just knowing each other, the acquaintance leading to going to each other for dinners and stuff, and yeah, and
I mean, and 10 days. Sorry, well, it feels maybe 10 years later, you guys have a collab,
yeah,
and
But-
I would say I think that it's probably the first local collab of its kind. Well, I think regionally from a watches and fashion, I don't know.
of its kind for sure. In the
Yeah.
region, I would not go and trying to check on what's happening internationally
no.
because I think it might happen for sure.
In the region, for sure, between
sure,
a watch
yeah.
brand
Yeah.
and a non-watch brand, I mean a fashion brand.
And like
100%.
brands that started here.
But here's the
You
thing,
know?
to me, it's been promoted. We spoke about, you know, it's Magana
Yeah.
X Badibanga, etc., etc. But genuinely, it's not a collab between brands. It's a collab between two guys who, thankfully, are in a position to have fun.
Yeah.
You know, I think we did something that resembles us.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, your friends first. You're entrepreneurs, yes, but first and foremost, you're friends. You have an appreciation for each other's, business and your creativity, and I think that's probably where it stemmed from. No.
It really started actually. That's what I was actually explaining doing the interview. It was actually fun to have you interviewing me.
I know it was like yeah.
Exactly. The conversation sparked an idea, and we started to talk about something that literally got into me a little bit like the quote that we've been talking about earlier. Literally, what he said on that day sparked a lot of questions,
Yeah.
but a lot of really fundamental and beautiful questions that I'm like, okay, you know what? That actually can be somehow the motto,
Beginning.
the beginning of actually what we wanted to build together.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could have just shaking hands and say like, let's do a kick-ass product and just put a lot of bullshit around it, but we literally and only put truth around.
But it wouldn't be bullshit because you're not starting from bullshit, right? That's the
truth.
ultimate
That's what I'm
thing.
saying. But that's what I'm
And-
saying to do.
And I think, I mean, for me also what I really appreciated is it wasn't, the way it got translated was very simple yet had such a strong meaning. Like with the red line, you guys were explaining this at the event and I think you should
le fil rouge.
share
rouge,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's so powerful.
No, look. Earlier we were chatting about how much of a nothing we all are.
Yeah.
Every single one of us thinks he's the center of the universe, and we are in some sense. I am the center of my universe.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But in reality, who the hell am I?
Well, the whole
the hell are
planet
you?
isn't even
Exactly.
center of the universe. Yeah.
Earlier I don't know if you were listening. I was telling Rania that think of right now. There's a little ant that's walking on the blade of grass in the
Yeah.
garden where you used to play when you were 5. It's a speck in it's
Yeah.
It's
nothing, right?
Nothing.
So that to us is us to the universe. We're nothing. All of us, everything that's going on, the whole planet is actually nothing. So we need not to take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah. True.
And so when we first spoke, I knew I wanted to do a collab with you. No, here's what I wanted to talk about is what you said earlier, which is about the stars aligning and things happening, etc. The reality is we're not old, but we're not exactly young, you know. We're in that sweet spot where we have enough experience and enough maturity to stop taking too seriously, too literally, and we still have, in theory, enough time ahead of us to try and fix the bad habits we picked up over the last 30, 40 years. And so when you texted me that day, so I remember the date because I looked at it not long ago,
Yeah.
February
22nd.
28th.
Yes?
You know what the date is today?
2023. Today is the 28th, so it's exactly 1 year ago.
You know?
Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
today is the
okay.
28th.
And
The
it's not like
28th.
we.
No, it wasn't planned.
No, at all.
C'est le hasard.
What? Just came back from Saudi yesterday. This was the only day that we. But
Was
anyway,
available.
we're just
Yeah.
saying. Okay.
Stars aligning again.
Yes.
He texted me the invite. I'm finally launching my own brand. It won't be the same if you're not there to celebrate with us. This date, this place, come and see what I've been working on. And my answer was, congrats, bro, that's amazing. We must do a collab. At the moment that I write this, so it was a spur of the moment reaction from my side. I had no agenda, no idea, nothing whatsoever.
Or what it was going to be.
No.
Yeah.
No idea. We sit, we talk. We sit at Otaku in D3, close to your office.
Yeah.
We have coffee, and I brought you that watch.
Yes, exactly.
And I was so proud of him. I wanted him to wear Magana at his event, which he didn't, because and this is what I love about watches. Watches are a great way to mark milestones in life.
Yeah.
And I know that Oscar sadly lost his father some time ago, and he, as a good luck charm to him, he wears his father's watch on his events.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I love it, thank you, I'll cherish it, but no way I'm wearing it on my event.
You know when he wore it though? He wore it to the What's in Your DM.
Okay.
Always.
Yeah.
Your father's watch, you mean?
No.
This one.
Yes.
Magana. Okay.
Yes.
By
From
way,
the first.
I have to get you a new strap.
What's wrong with my strap?
Or just, soap and water. And
But I
wash
did it.
Okay.
I swear. I did it.
D'accord.
My clothes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, and we sat and we chat, and I know he doesn't know much about watches. I'm just being polite. He doesn't know about watches.
Yeah.
And
no,
I
but-
don't know about fashion. My wife is
Yeah.
brilliant. My daughter, mashallah, has a great sense of style. I am dressed by my lovely wife, Linda. She literally, she picks he picked this. He made it. Thank you.
Yeah.
My wife.
Yeah.
All right, me. So I don't know about fashion, but I knew I wanted to do something with him
Yeah.
because I have great admiration for Oscar, and he's always had a very unique sense of style.
Yeah. That's very
And
true.
What I also know is that when the idea of Magana to start a watch brand started, I had a lot of things that I wanted to do, and I needed to streamline everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the vision that I had was, who is Magana watch for? What kind of person? I love watchmaking. What we were talking about earlier, the different crafts and métier and finish, and all of those are brilliant, and I love them. I would spend tons of money getting, a beautifully finished Vacheron Constantin, Lange, Patek, but that's not who I am.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, if you will. So what I wanted to do is to make a serious watch for people that dress like him, for people that look like him. You see somebody with the great sense of style walking down the streets in London, in New York, in Dubai, in Beirut, in Marrakesh, in Cairo, in Stockholm, and you'd see, these guys, they're not going to be wearing a Rolex or an Omega or an IWC or Patek, simply because these watches are too traditional, if you will.
Well, also what watches mean to them, right?
No,
Not everyone.
Yeah.
Hang on.
That's
So
a whole
that's a whole other thing,
conversation,
okay?
right?
But I'm just talking in terms of
Where you sit in terms of who you were
so
wanted to.
basically,
Oh, wouldn't you keep yourself in mind as well?
you think persona.
Yes.
You think marketing persona when you
Yeah.
when you sit down with the consultants and the marketeers and
Yeah,
whatnot. They
who
say
am I
who's your
talking?
target audience and what's the persona, right? So I define the persona of Magana. When I say I, it's not just me. It's me talking with a lot of people who know this stuff a lot better than I. And through questions and conversations, we arrived to defining the Magana persona as being the urban, mindful nomad.
That's
all right?
3 very strong
Yeah.
Characteristics.
Yeah.
Now I go to Oscar. Look at him. Can you imagine Oscar living in a farm?
I mean,
yes.
Okay,
à temps
so
partiel.
so we can
That's
agree.
a really good. I feel
We
like
can
he's
agree.
taking our questions and spinning them.
No, but
Exactly.
Actually, but that's a really good
he's
question.
urban. We can agree
Yes.
that he's
I'm
urban.
definitely urban. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm 100% urban.
And how often?
Yeah, but actually, are you saying no?
At what? Me living in a farm?
he could for a few weeks
Yeah,
a year
for-
as a
yeah,
vacation,
weeks,
yeah,
days.
but not.
Yeah.
You
No, not
imagine him waking
full-time.
up at 4
I would love a
to pick
farm,
up the
not
eggs from.
full-time. No,
I would pick up the eggs, but
there is
the problem is
farm
I
and
would
there
be
is
like,
farm. You'll have people picking up the eggs
All
for him.
right, so that's the urban part, right? Then
Yeah.
I know. So when he spoke about Badibanga, we did an interview with
GQ.
did an interview and by a young lady named Rand who had some really brilliant questions.
It was Amina.
So
Yeah.
Rand works with Amina, but we did the phone interview,
Yeah.
Oscar and I, with Rand, who's Iraqi. I would remember that.
Yeah, because you
And-
say something else.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Anyways, and
Something rude?
No.
no. Come on, you know me.
No. As if he doesn't have a tendency. But okay, always funny, but a little bit of you know.
Trying anyway.
All right, go
So
on.
and she asked about sustainability and whatnot, and he was explaining that his way to be sustainable as a brand was to produce in small quantity, to reuse fabrics that have been unused,
Yeah.
and to be careful with packaging, etc., etc. And so that's his mindfulness aspect. He's very mindful. He's also mindful when you know him. You'd never hear Oscar talking too loud. He's a big guy, but somehow his presence is very smooth. So that's his
Depending on
mindful
time.
aspect. And the third aspect of a nomad, this is a guy, every chance he gets, he travels to go somewhere new.
For inspiration, right? Yeah.
Not just for inspiration, he's
Well, I
just
mean,
curious about
Curious.
Yeah.
about
I mean,
other cultures. So when I say he fits the persona of my target audience as a brand, a mindful urban nomad.
Would you say that, for example, the customer that you're trying to target are actually someone who would choose for a watch first for the aesthetic and then for the rest, or not?
So I wouldn't say that it's the first thing. So we are social animals.
Because I would.
Yes and no.
In a sense, the reason why I'm telling you that is about, it's not that I don't care about the brand, but for example, I saw a watch from a fashion brand,
Okay.
Italian, that I will not name, of course,
Why not?
just because I don't want to talk about them today.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it.
Diplomatic.
Yeah.
Fine.
So basically, the brand look, the watch looks amazing,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, I was put off a little bit by the brand.
So the product was great.
The product is actually
because
beautiful.
it's the brand, you wouldn't buy it, you're saying?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna put that much
Because
money.
you don't adhere to the brand.
No, because I'm not gonna put that much money for
What?
a watch made by a fashion brand. The only one,
Oh,
and
not
we
a
talked
watch.
about it.
Not a watchmaker.
The only watch that I would buy from a fashion brand, Chiffre Rouge, Dior by Eddie Slimane.
Okay.
That's the only
wow.
one. Yeah,
Okay,
that's the only one
interesting.
that I always found like super beautiful.
Okay. It is a great looking
And you showed me
watch.
one.
I did.
Yeah, I remember. Stay in my head.
Okay. So
But wait, that's because it has to fit with the overall. Is what
Yeah,
you're
because
saying?
it's a really question of aesthetic.
Kind of like how Apple watches are not.
But that definitely not.
No, well, remember when they first came out, their aesthetic was brilliant.
What?
I don't know
Of the Apple Watch. The first Apple Watch, when they first came out, the aesthetic, I can tell you, in the
Seriously?
watch industry, everyone was like,
Come
shit,
on.
so brilliant. You know who designed the Apple Watch, by the way?
Wasn't there
Shit.
some Hermes link?
He looks like
No.
my
You
Isaac
would get
Newton.
them.
Isaac Newton.
Mhm.
I think maybe I'm talking out of my ass, but I think Isaac Newton, who is the same guy who designed the brand called Ikepod.
Are you gonna go Google it?
Regarde Ikepod, Ikepod. So Ikepod around watches, their tagline was the future vintage watch or something like that,
Okay.
because it has a very
So sorry, you choose your Samsung to search for Apple?
No, because definitely.
be
I'm
talking
asking
about
Jerome.
competition.
Yeah,
Jerome, chat.
ChatGPT.
Oh, you named your chat.
Hey, his name's Jerome.
You can name them?
Apparently. Hey,
Okay.
my car's name is Blackadder.
Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Blackadder.
Blackadder. Okay.
Oh, I thought he was Black
I
Adam.
don't have a name for my car. I do not have
You
a
don't
name
drive
for
a
my
Tesla,
chat.
do you?
Huh?
You don't drive a Tesla.
No, and I don't think I ever will. Electronic
another
cars are not.
Apparently, a
for
guy
me, yeah.
called Johnny Ive.
So let me just go back
Okay, let's go back
to
it,
what
yeah.
you were saying. The question was,
Yes.
do you think
Yeah,
consumers
aesthetic
will buy
versus.
aesthetic before and everything else?
Mhm.
Now, the reality in the luxury watch segment,
Mhm.
most of people
Mhm.
buy first the brand
Yeah, definitely. I
Sure.
agree. I agree.
before the aesthetics,
Yeah.
before nothing, because it's the status symbol. I made it in life. Now I can
buying a
afford to
Rolex.
have
Yeah,
a Rolex
status
and all the
And then I'm
marketing,
making
the
that next
Patek,
step.
and
It's
then-
yeah.
But also
Voilà.
trust in the quality somehow, right?
So no, for a brand to reach that level of desirability,
Mm.
they have decades, if not centuries,
Yeah.
of track record, of existence, of. So they have the heritage that makes them attractive
Yeah.
to the masses.
Mm.
Well,
Right?
that's how they've also built their brands,
So
essentially.
they built the brand originally because of reliability and quality and,
Yeah.
and sustained reliability and quality. So that's why I'm saying aesthetics might not be the first thing. It's the brand. Now, if you don't know the brand, then yes, aesthetics. If I give you 3 brands that, in a very cocky way, I would assume you don't know.
Are you talking to him?
Both. All right. Let's say Atowak watches. Let's say Denison watches.
Denison, yes.
Mm.
And you know Denison?
Yeah.
All right. Nice.
Only
nice.
Denison.
Let's say Mad. And let's say
Yeah, Mad.
Baltic.
I know
No.
one out of
Alright.
4.
Yeah.
Now, interesting exercise. These 4 brands,
Mm.
I can tell for sure that the one that you both will agree on
Mm-hmm.
in terms of aesthetic
Yeah.
would be Baltic.
Okay.
Baltic. How do you write Baltic? With the C at the end?
With the C at the end. Baltic
Okay.
Space Watches. It's a brand that came out in 2017
Yeah.
out of Paris. Very cool product in my opinion.
I have
Nice.
to say though, from a
I mean,
aesthetics, let me
It's
see.
a nice product.
Yeah.
The thing is about as you know, I'm a lot into
Yeah.
That's
it
why I
comes to
picked
that-
it. That's why I picked
no, but I would love more. Like for example, Blancpain for me would be a good example
Okay.
of
Okay.
when it comes to a leather strap.
it. Okay, but
But I have to say something. When it comes to brands, like, okay, I get aesthetics if you don't know the brand and you want to pick something that works with your look and feel. But a lot of these brands, the watches are super ugly, but it's because it's cool. Like, I'm sorry,
So
like,
the
we
brand
know there's
equity-
like,
the bigger the brand equity, the more mistakes you're allowed to
RM
make.
for me is a great example of that.
C'est quoi ça?
Baltic.
Oh, c'est pas le modèle que j'avais en tête. But
No,
that's not the one I had in mind. But,
RM for
Yeah.
me
but
is
you see,
a
Richard,
great example of they are not aesthetically, and you would never wear that.
Which one?
Richard Mille.
But never.
No.
Okay.
Money
So-
or not money.
No, but here's why.
Look
So
at everyone who is wearing it, and the RM12 is one of the most sought after
Never.
watches that
11.
people.
RM11. RM11.
Maybe now it's 11, but a few years ago
Like
it was
literally,
12,
it's
no?
a watch that put me off.
Like all of
Like-
the celebs. Huh?
There is no 12.
Okay, is there a 13? No.
It's 11.
Are you sure?
The chronograph.
No,
Yes.
I am. Okay, maybe. Okay, I have to look this up.
Don't
Hold
worry
on.
about it. Here's the thing about RM.
Mhm.
RM is the watch brand that everybody loves to hate. The truth of the matter is.
Richard Mille, you mean?
Huh?
Mhm.
RM. I mean, I never call it RM.
The truth is, Richard Mille, whether we like what they do or don't,
Mm-hmm.
as somebody who knows watches, who understands watches very modestly, I don't have the knowledge of so many people in the industry, but I can appreciate the amount of research and development that's gone into them. I can appreciate the level of finishing, the level of technical prowess. It's just mind-boggling what they've done. It really is mind-boggling. And they are very, very, very expensive watches. Because of that, so on one side, the product in and of itself requires a ton of cash to be made at that level of sophistication
Sure.
and expertise, etc., etc. In parallel to that, a lot of people who have a lot of money often don't delve into the details of that because they can't afford to have anything. And let's be honest, if you're making that much money, you're probably busy making it rather than delving, etc. So
If you had to
So-
compare,
hang on, let me just
Yeah.
finish. What happened is that, especially since the COVID days, where a lot of people, especially youth, have been able to, by luck and by being at the right place at the right time, and they took chances on stuff like crypto. They took chances on real estate. They took chances on some stuff, and they were able to multiply their investments. They were able to afford those watches. Now, Richard Mille ticks a number of boxes. A, it's technically quasi-perfect, despite what a lot of people say that they have modified movements, that they have done this, they have done. Honestly, hats off. I wish I could do a tenth of what they did. Second, their production is small. They make 4,000 to 5,000 watches compared to whatever. You can look online, any brand you want, and you would see that almost everybody makes tons more.
Yeah.
Then their price point is high. Their distribution is exclusive, but back to design,
So, but
their
that's,
design is very recognizable.
yes, but what I was trying to say, if we're talking about the person who is buying it, when I look at the average person who is buying it, they're not buying it for the complication. They're not
100%.
buying it for the aesthetic. They're actually buying it because there is.
it's a belonging.
No,
sense of
because
belonging.
Small
it's
number,
recognizable, because it's recognizable, and
it's
people know it's
expensive.
worth a lot of
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
status.
but
It's
how is
fully,
that-
purely status?
All right.
But my question is actually, how are they? Why them and not
Let me ask
other
you this.
brands that are actually on
Let-
par to?
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How is that Richard Mille's fault as a brand?
No, I didn't say fault.
not.
That's great for them.
No, it's.
I was just
it's-
saying we're talking
Look,
aesthetics.
knowing a
and I was
few
like, there's
people
no
who
way-
work for the brand,
Yeah,
it angers them.
really.
It angers them. You know why?
Why? Because they
because-
want to be traditional,
La-
but they're not.
No. Because they have something that we call that are called flippers. So I make my living by trading watches.
Yeah.
Okay, I have seen every week I see somebody buying a brand new watch from a top brand from a retailer at retail price and trying to sell it back with a premium. And Richard Mille is amongst the brands that command the highest premium.
Who else?
Patek,
Mhm.
Rolex,
Voilà,
Audemars
it's-
Piguet.
So it's still
Not all models, not all.
No, of course
but
not.
Yeah, it's
Of
just like
course
few
not.
of them.
Voila, a few
Yeah.
of them. And so
But how does
But
a brand
hang on,
get
hang
on
on,
that
hang on.
list? I
So-
think that's
I'll tell you why
Yeah.
it angers the brand. Let's say Richard Mille, they make 5,000 watches. They have 100,000 people around the world who want to buy their watches. Okay? 100,000 genuine collectors who appreciate the craftsmanship, who appreciate the R&D, who appreciate everything that Richard Mille stands for. They're bringing technology from the Formula One world, from the aerospace world. They're bringing new alloys. They're creating alloys. They're creating new movement. They're really spending millions and millions every year in research and development to create their product. And there are consumers who are willing to buy this product because they appreciate all of that effort. And that's
Collectors,
whoever
yeah, sure.
Richard Mille wants to sell to. But
Short
because,
question.
hang on. Because they go to the shop and the shop goes like, sorry, we don't have any. And you have a little crypto millionaire who shows up and who says, don't tell me how, tell me how much. And who would go to a dealer and who would buy a Richard Mille with a 50, 100, 200% premium and would parade on social media and in clubs and whatnot with his nice Richard Mille. It makes the genuine collector say, you know what, I don't want to be associated with that image. If the image of the brand is party,
Yeah, so the brand didn't
Yeah, but
choose
it-
this,
but
but it
the
gets
brand didn't
devalued.
choose it,
you're
but
saying.
it becomes victim of it
Yeah.
versus vis-a-vis the genuine watch lover. Problem is,
But they allow it to a certain degree.
how?
You
But
can
because
definitely
they're fine
restrict
with
who's
that.
buying your watch.
And that was my
You can.
question.
I don't know. Maybe
How
I'm
would you,
maybe I'm
so,
naive.
so for example,
No, I'm
how
not,
would
I'm a dreamer.
you
I'm a
to
dream.
create? How would you compare, for example, in the car industry, Richard Mille situation?
Ooh,
Should-
cars
you
and
choose-
Okay,
you
so we
choose-
live in Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a bright pink or bright light blue Rolls-Royce SUV?
Of course.
That's what I compare it to.
Okay, so to the right one. So a great car, but that they turn into shit.
Let me put it this way. To me, Rolls-Royce
Mhm.
is a car. If someday I have the means to, it's a car I want to own, but it's not a car I want to drive. I want to be driven in. I want to have
Okay.
somebody
Yeah,
with white
I get your
gloves
point.
open my door and
Exactly,
for
I
me
get
to
your
get in
point.
and
Yeah,
get
yeah.
out. Right?
You don't drive a Rolls Royce.
Well, you don't want to drive a
no,
Rolls
no,
Royce.
you
You want to be
No,
driven
why?
in a
Some
Rolls
do.
Royce.
No, but if it's
I think Kendall,
like
Kylie Jenner drives her
yeah, but
own.
she has what? She has the coupé,
The coupe, yeah.
yeah.
The convertible. The
Convertible.
We know so
Phantom?
much
No.
about
Ghost.
cars.
The ghost, I say phantom.
Phantom, Ghost.
No, but it's
no, the
Mulligan.
Phantom is a
Ghost.
long wheelbase. Anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
what I'm trying to say is, at some point, you need to let go as a brand. You can't keep control of what happens to your image, to your product. You need to let go. You do your best. You have a vision, back to what we were talking about before we started this. You have a vision, you work towards that vision, and the universe somehow puts people on the way or
Yeah.
removes people from the way for you to reach that vision. Richard Mille, the gentleman, keep in mind, the brand has been around for 25 years, 24 years. The man who launched it, Mr. Richard Mille, launched it, he was 50.
Yeah.
I mean,
But by the way,
you-
it's a shift. It's a shift that didn't just happen in the watch world. It's a
No,
shift
it's a
that
shift that
happened in
happened.
fashion, and
Exactly.
people wanted to hold back and say, okay, we don't want this one on the front
Yeah.
row. We don't
It's-
want this one wearing our brand. But everyone's gone through it. A good example is, Burberry kind of became Chav. They didn't want that, obviously.
Yeah.
But then they were smart that they ended up playing into it. Gucci also kind of went through that.
She had
phase.
it. Tommy,
But you know why?
Tommy
So it's a
Hilfiger in the
time-
US had it
That's
in
why
the
I say
90s.
also it's really how the world also shifts somehow.
So the world shifts as humans we evolve, and the reality is you
and
speak,
who has the money?
you speak of-
right?
of-
These brands.
it's not just who has the
Yeah.
money, but you speak of Burberry. Keep in mind that the people who work in Burberry today, the decision makers in Burberry today,
Yeah.
were teens back in the 90s, and
Yeah.
they witnessed the hooligans
Hooligans.
taking the brand,
Yeah.
taking ownership
Was
of
it
the
Joe?
brand,
Was one of the
just
Ch-
like
was one of the
Lacoste,
Chavs.
Lacoste in
Chavs.
France.
Chavs are not hooligans, guys. Chavs
Yeah.
are not hooligans.
I-
Jazz are a little
Chavs,
bit
I wanna
like our
try-
wish wish.
Wish, exactly.
Okay, got it.
Wesh,
Okay.
wesh, exactly.
But tu vois, so the Wesh Wesh,
It's
they
not
were
hooligan.
Lacoste, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we actually discussed
or
this
Tacchini.
with Osama. Yeah.
Or
It's funny you say
Tacchini,
that.
Sergio
So
Tacchini.
Burberry
Tacchini, yeah.
became the same somehow,
Yeah,
right?
but what I'm trying to say is that the decision makers today know the impact on business, on sales of a large crowd, whether you agree with that large crowd
They know
or
they
not.
have to feed into it. Let's just be
Voilà,
very
yeah,
honest.
they have to
Exactly.
They have to
Yeah.
feed into it.
in terms
If
of
you're going to
business.
survive, you have to, we know that. Like at the end of the day, when Vogue put Kanye and Kim on the cover,
Mhm.
it's not something that they necessarily, it was because they knew that was going to sell.
Yeah,
He was the first man to
definitely.
be on the cover. He was the first black man. It was the first time they put a couple on the cover. So again, you have to be smart how you
That's
move.
a champagne
How
thing?
you move? No, that was paper.
No, that was
magazine,
the
I
paper
think.
magazine.
Yeah,
No,
that's
paper.
different.
Yeah, paper.
Was it
magazine,
paper? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
Again,
we
I
were
don't-
producing an
Anyway,
old picture. From,
Point is, what we were, I guess, just going back to the whole thing with the complication or sophistication of a watch versus
But you see,
picking a watch.
this is
towards
why.
the st-
This is why, when I spoke to circle back to what I'm trying to do with Magana,
Yeah,
this is why
and that's what we were.
my
is that what we're talking about?
Huh?
That's what we've been talking about.
Oh yeah, Magana, nice watch.
Thank you. This is why I wanted to reach to
Yeah,
answer that mindful urban nomad
yeah,
who doesn't feed into the power of brands and recognition,
Yeah.
who's not into showing off, etc., etc. They still want to watch. What watch would that be? Let me make a watch for them. At the same time, because I consider myself somewhat of a purist, I was like, all right, even those guys, even Oscar, who doesn't know shit about watches, I still
he
want him
keeps
to
on saying
have.
that.
I still want him to
Emphasizing
have
the message.
Yeah,
a useful complication
Yes,
that's well built together, that is efficient, that takes
I mean,
all
you're
the.
still going to do something that's going to be of somewhat
Yeah,
of a
yeah,
value.
you just-
Obviously,
no.
you
Of
are
course.
a watch.
So once Sophia, my daughter, was maybe 5 or 6, and it was Christmas time, and for Christmas dinner, I bought some caviar, and I give her a small spoonful of caviar to taste. She hated it. She's 11, she still hates it, but I guarantee you, 10 years from now, she would love it.
But listen,
What I'm
I
trying
love
to
caviar
say
today.
is,
You get accustomed to
it's not
something.
no, it's not because you don't appreciate something that you should be given shit.
Say that again. It's
Not because you don't appreciate watchmaking that you should have a shit watch.
Oh, yes. You
Okay.
can still have a good...
You can still have a good
Yeah.
watch, and with time and with more knowledge, you'd appreciate that you're having a good watch.
Yeah.
At first, in the case of Oscar with his watch, he appreciates the story behind it, he appreciates the guy behind it, and he appreciates the look and the design and the color. Great. Maybe 5 years from now, he'd appreciate the complication
Well,
and the
that is still
finishing,
good.
and,
Yeah.
and now he has the eye as a brand owner, as a product manufacturer. He has the eye on the detail. So
Yeah.
if I tell him, okay, pay attention to the finishing and look at how we did the polish, a mirror polish on the corner between two sides of the same piece of metal where we have sandblasted finish, and imagine how complicated it is, and this is handmade and whatever. He might not know what I'm talking about, but he would understand what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, and he would appreciate the effort. He'd know that it's completely useless. It doesn't do shit to the efficiency of the watch, but it makes it more beautiful.
Yeah. No, I get that. But I think you're right. But even with the knowledge that I have in watches and having had watch clients, etc., I look at a watch and I'll look at Megana and be like, it's really pretty. It's cool. And it's something that I can wear day to day, because not all watches can fit into that kind of very chill lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, I don't want to I don't want a watch that overpowers my day to day. When I want that, I
100%.
have like an evening watch or something like that, right? So it's cool. It's a nice watch. And
Thank you.
crazy enough, like at the event when you had the reveal, like I never thought I would think a white watch is nice. Maybe
Okay.
the Chanel J12 was
Brilliant watch.
was really cute.
It's the one that I hate the most.
But
It's
Why?
really strange. I don't like that watch.
I
at
didn't
all.
like it at the beginning,
Man,
but then
that
it grew
watch-
on me.
That watch was.
I know,
Oh my God, it went
it's an icon.
viral. It went
And I know it's an
viral. Yeah.
icon.
It's
But what
an
I'm saying, that was
icon.
the only white. When I think of white watches, I think of that one. But back to the launch, I was like, wow, it's the white is probably my favorite. I thought it would be the green, but
Look, it's
the
a matter
white
of
with the
taste.
red line
What is your favorite?
so solid.
The next one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. When is that?
I really don't know. We're just finishing the drawings now. I need to speak with the different suppliers. We need to source the movement.
So you're taking your time. You don't have a set kind of
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
You to be clear on what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to make a watch. I'm trying to build a brand.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to build a brand in a way that I will always have the freedom to venture wherever I want to venture. My first product and my core product is watches. Who knows? Maybe 3 years from now, I do shades. Maybe I do, cameras. Maybe I don't know.
That's really interesting what you just said right now. So for you, Magana, it's not it will not be only be focusing on watch.
No.
Watch will be, I think, maybe the core.
Yeah.
But then you will try to build a couple of other stuff around.
I'm open-minded.
You're
I'm not saying I
open-minded. Okay,
will.
great,
I'm not
yeah.
saying I won't. What I'm saying is the whole story is that creating a brand from scratch is a super exciting and interesting exercise.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
The whole point of me creating a brand is to have something that my kids can look at 20, 30, 50 years from now, be proud of, and have my legacy in it. My legacy as Omar, as their dad, as Linda's husband, as Adam's and Sophia's father, as Dean's and Mazda's son, as Hamza's brother, Yahya, Kenza, and Sami. Otherwise, they would be pissed off if I don't name them. I just like every single one of us, we are a lot of things. We don't have a single identity. We are a multiplication of identities, and depending on the circumstances, depending on where you are, who you're with, what's happening, you will have one personality or identity that'll come off stronger. Very simple example. In 2022, December, Morocco made it to the semifinals of the FIFA World Cup. I was more Moroccan than anything else, right? When I see the news, what's been happening in Gaza over the last year and a half, I don't feel Moroccan. I feel Arab. I feel Muslim. I feel a human, to be honest. When I remember a few years ago, the UAE sent the first Emirati to space, to go to the International Space Station. Although I am not Emirati, I felt Emirati. I felt so much pride because I've been living here for so long. So what I'm trying to say is that our identities come forward depending on the circumstances.
True.
And so I wanted for Magana to be a brand that'll allow me to communicate to my children and whoever is interested a certain number of values and the philosophy of life that I think could be universal. And I know that I will sound either extremely obnoxious or extremely naive, and I don't care. But the reality is life's too short to be taken too seriously. Nothing is important. The only important thing is relationships between people. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what your color is. I don't care what your faith is. Treat me with kindness. I will treat you the same. And to me, Magana is meant to be a vehicle of these values, of this philosophy.
So how would you use it on the extension of how would you actually create that feeling within a product? Because I totally understand that, because I remember like saying the same thing. I think on the speech of the first launch, I said, you know what? Before trying to raise your flag every time something happened, trying first to be a good human.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah.
actually saying, because I feel like a lot of people are spending their time throwing stones at everyone because this is doing this, this
Yeah.
one is doing
Yeah.
that, but they forgot first to stop being a with the taxi driver who has nothing to do with them.
Did we just say that?
Yeah.
But
You can tell we're not
it-
native English speakers. It didn't phase me.
Wow.
it-
Okay.
it's really about trying to be a good human first before trying to throw stones at everyone to change. Actually,
So
that was
But
you're-
it's
so how do you do that with Magana?
through storytelling, through things like these, through
Yeah.
exchanging
Okay.
with people. The thing is this: in the world of watches, all watch brands speak of their heritage, their craftsmanship, and their technical prowess. At best,
Hmm.
I would be on an equal footing in at least two of these topics. I don't have heritage because we just launched, but at best, I would have the same level of craftsmanship and technical prowess. So I'm no different. And let's be honest, with all due respect to everyone who's out there, and God knows I'm a huge fan of all brands and all watches, it's boring. And if I'm talking to an audience of mindful urbans, they don't care. What they care about is what you stand for, what you represent. And it's not a matter of fashion. It's not that Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter or stand with Gaza or stand with the 7 October or
Honestly, I feel like a lot of brands are jumping on the.
Because-
Actually, I think Savoir Flair did an article about this, about how we don't need to see another collab around. Like it's people are
I've seen
taking it.
And it was
Like
it was a great
brands
article.
using
Honestly, it was-
Palestine
I'm
as
so
a
happy-
marketing tool.
I'm so happy that somebody finally spoke up. Like it's.
So I'll tell
Yeah.
you, I'll tell
Anyway.
you something, and this will be probably the first and only time I will mention this publicly.
Okay.
In September of 2023,
Mhm.
there was a horrible earthquake in the region of Marrakesh in Morocco.
Yeah.
Thousands of people died, and etc. etc. I took the commitment that all Magana sold between that period all the way to the end of 2023, 100% of the profits went to support the national fund in Morocco, etc. I didn't promote it, I didn't say it, etc. I just did it. I have that freedom. It wasn't much. It was
But
a
it
few
was
thousands
something.
of dollars,
It doesn't
but
matter.
it's better than doing nothing. And
Absolutely.
this is what I want to stand for. Between not doing anything and doing everything,
Something, yeah.
there is something that can be done.
Totally.
No matter how small it is, it's better than doing nothing,
Agreed.
right?
No, because you've been talking about what you can actually do, and we've been comparing because you've been talking about using Palestine as a.
Well,
So
it was an example of
it was just an example. So
that that's not really what you need to do.
no, voila. So I was explaining that brands in their communication would speak about heritage, savoir-faire, craftsmanship, etc. And at best, I would do as well as that. However, I noticed, and this was, I said it the other night, no watch brand speaks of time.
Yeah,
When you think about it,
which is ironic.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. And so, because they don't make time, they just make, all watch brands, they make a tool that measures time.
Well,
Now-
isn't time taken for granted somehow?
Time is taken for granted. Of course, no one really thinks about it. But imagine this. Imagine you wake up every day and you have $2.4 million on your account. But every hour, on the hour, $100,000, poof, disappear.
Mm.
How mindful would you be
With how you spend your
with how you
time.
spend the $100,000 every hour? Trust me, you'll be so mindful. You'll be
Yeah,
very
exactly.
careful.
What
You'll go,
I-
you know what? I'm not buying anything, you know what? Let me just give it to charity.
Yeah.
You know?
But what I meant to say about time being taken for granted is from how they market, watches are not going to be like, oh, we're going to use time. Obviously, it tells time. You see what I mean? You've taken something very simple and turned it into something that is meaningful,
But
right?
you
And
know
that's,
why?
I think
so-
that's like
so,
Yeah.
look,
one of the great things of how you're telling the story of
so we'll get into
Magana.
the personal stuff now. Some years ago, sadly, my father-in-law passed. He got ill, and relatively quickly, the illness took him away, and he was still relatively young. He was in his early 60s. and this was obviously a cause of great sadness for us. And my children are growing up without really knowing who their grandfather was. Thankfully, alhamdulillah, I still have both my parents. And although I don't get to see them very often, I am extremely aware of the fact that time is limited.
Yeah.
We all have an expiration date. We don't know when that is, but we know it's out there. We avoid thinking about it because it could be depressing. I actually make it a point to think about it all the time, not because I want to be depressed, but because I want to make sure that I don't waste opportunities to tell people that I love them.
Yeah.
You know, funny story. I started this year, my daughter changed school. I told
Oh
you the
yeah,
story.
yours. Oh my god,
I don't know. Oscar doesn't
Yeah.
know this.
it's
So
cute.
my daughter is 11.
Yeah.
She's in a new school, and so she doesn't take the bus with her brother anymore. I drop her off
GPS.
in the morning. Yes, and
It's really sweet.
and I was listening to a podcast that was talking about time and life and death and whatnot, and it made me realize that a lot of time, most of the time, people pass away not knowing when they wake up in the morning. They don't know it's their last day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they did, they would say, I love you to the people they love. They would say, I forgive you, or they would ask forgiveness from the people they love. So, talking with my daughter as we do every morning, I'm telling her this. She's 11, so it's a bit of a heavy topic. And I tell her, Sophia, darling, I want the last thing that we tell each other to be, I love you. What are you on? I was like, you know what? New rule. When I drop you off in the morning,
Funny.
if I don't hear, I love you, daddy, I'll let you get out of the car. You're going to cross the street in front of me and go to the school. I will roll down my window and I would scream from the top of my lungs, Sophia, darling, don't forget daddy loves you.
Can you imagine?
So once
My
she
God.
forgot,
She will be like, oh my God.
once she
Cringe.
forgot, once I did it,
Yeah.
she'd be mad at me in the car for whatever reason because I said no to a play date or iPad or whatever.
Yeah.
And she will get to the school. She's like, I love you. And she'd leave.
Yeah. And mortifying to have to be.
What I'm trying to say is
the
that
point
this is one of a zillion possible
yeah, this is
ways
true.
to focus on the quality of time we have that we spend.
Which I was telling you this, and I was telling Oscar there's one
I thought you were
quote or
going to say time's up.
philosophy
Yeah.
that you at the event you had printed out kind of bits and pieces from your story, and the one that really like stood out to me and I think is just so spot on, and I said to you, I feel targeted but seen at the same time, and it was quite an interesting feeling, and it's how you're saying that we stand for a world where time is spent with purpose, where we show up for one another, honoring our roots and shaping a future of kindness. We're not naive, we're dreamers. We root for those who move with intention, who build, who give, and take time for others. Because the time to care, to create, and to connect is now. And it gave me goosebumps. I think it's like, it just summarizes in such a genuine and warm, but also serious way, like what are we doing with our time? How
Thank
are
you.
we?
No,
No,
so
I think it's
It's no, because the question that I had for you, I mean, based on that is, it's going back in what you actually been saying earlier, is how can we actually, for me, the thing that I'm struggling with people in general for the moment is people are putting value or pretending to have some value, and they are putting everything on social media. But on the other side, they don't do half of what they're actually trying to portray. I'm a good person, I do this and I do that, and I'm putting all of this and all of that. And everyone on the back actually are being the worst human that you can, I mean, I say worst, I mean, maybe a little bit exaggerating, but they are not really and I would say like coherent with what they actually do live. And what you actually been saying is about, through a brand like Magana and everything that you're trying to build, you are somehow wanted to create that space to actually help people maybe elevate themselves a little bit more.
That would be awesome if
Yeah.
I managed to do that.
I mean, with this kind of messaging,
Yeah,
that
but
also
that's what
so-
I'm
we're
saying.
not seeing
So-
it. I guess
so-
to tie it in somehow is the fact that you're not out there, and I think this is also the balance, and I feel maybe that's what is that you see a lot of people who are kind of lecturing or putting quotes or this or that, and it's those people that are not really kind of aligned. This, I didn't see this anywhere, and I don't feel like you have been with your brand trying to forcefully convey a message. That's why it was so heartfelt when it was there at the event. Anyway, you feel whether it's genuine or not.
You
I
practice
think.
what you preach. That's the difference.
He's like, this is all coming on me now.
That's
But
no,
yes.
it's very kind of you guys.
It's a
The
reality.
reality is, like everybody, I have my qualities and I have my c'est quoi les défauts?
Yeah, flaws.
My
Nobody's
flaws.
perfect. Absolutely.
Nobody's perfect.
Absolutely.
Black,
But
black humor.
But
Yeah.
I believe, Ricky Gervais, British
Ricky
comedian.
Gervais, yeah, sure. We're
Love the
bringing
guy.
him in.
Very
Okay.
funny. Very
Yeah.
funny.
Dark, huh?
Now he's an atheist.
Black?
Dark.
Dark
Yeah,
humor, yes.
do
He's,
this.
he's an atheist.
Yeah.
I am somebody who has faith.
Yes.
I know that both of you have faith.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, he is an atheist because he believes that faith or religion has caused more harm than good. And he says the religion should be, try not to be a, excuse, I used the C word
that's
again.
the second time.
But that's what he
Yeah.
said.
So he's saying, try not to be.
And he has a name.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's right, I guess. Yes.
And if you live your life that way, you're good in my book. And I happen to agree with him.
That means you're being a good human, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Treat people the way you want to be treated. The rules are not that complicated.
No.
I have 2 kids I'm trying to raise correctly. They're wonderful. I love them. And I tell them, don't have a zillion rules in life. I'll give you a few. 1, you don't have anything nice to say about somebody? Shut up.
Yeah.
2, if you're in a position to help somebody, do it.
Mm-hmm.
2.5. If you're in a position to help somebody and it doesn't cost you anything in terms of effort, money, or whatever, and you don't do it, then you're
Mm-hmm.
An
You're
idiot.
that, yes.
You
yes.
see? Okay.
we can agree on these rules.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. Basics.
3, between doing things fast and doing things well, we always try to do them well.
Love that.
All right?
Mhm.
That's it. 3 rules. Live by these rules, you're good. And of course, 4, treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Now,
What about how you spend your time?
Yeah.
Because that is something that
So-
is so integral to what your brand stands for. And I feel like
so there's still a
there's that
little,
deeper level.
so
than-
they're still a little young about that, but
yes, they're young.
so
but if
so
we talk-
I taught them something that I read in a book by a brilliant guy named Dries Aberkan,
Mhm.
who's a French Algerian brainiac doctor. He has 2 or 3 doctorates. He's written books. He does conferences. He has a
What's the name of
YouTube
the
channel,
book?
and the book's called "Libérez votre cerveau,"
Okay.
free
Yeah.
your brain.
Free your brain.
And he explains a brilliant concept. He explains something called the knowledge economy. Now, in the standard economy, it's a zero-sum game. You have money, I have a product. You give me the money, you take the product. You're out of money, I'm out of a product.
Okay.
Right? So you
Yeah.
lose something, you gain something. In the knowledge economy, what we're doing right now is that there is an information flow that goes in a certain direction. The information I give you, I do not lose. There's a multiplication effect.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what is the best way for the flow of information to be efficient? There's a currency that needs to be spent, and that currency we all have in equal measure:
Time.
time and attention.
Mm.
And the currency is called AT. A for attention, T for time. Now, if you give me an hour for me to share with you a presentation, like the one we did 15 years ago about watchmaking.
Mm-hmm.
15 years later, you still remember some of it. Why?
Yes.
Because you gave me those 2 hours, but you also gave me your full attention.
True.
You weren't on your phone checking your DMs.
True.
Wink, wink.
Sometimes.
No,
We're being told off.
That's the thing.
you see
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yes.
If you
Totally.
gave me your attention, but you have only a few minutes, then you won't get as much information.
True.
So the ideal thing is for me and you to spend an equal amount of ads on each other, and then we both come out with
double ads.
double knowledge, double information, right? Now, I taught my kids this, and every now and then I ask them in the car driving from somewhere, what did you spend your ads on today?
Love it.
And the idea is, I know that you're going to have 5 classes today. Each class is 50 minutes. And at some point, your brain is fried and it's very difficult for you to focus. But if you know that dad's going to ask you at the end of the day what you spend your ads on, you better have an answer. Because they know how freaking expensive schools are. I make sure to remind them. Like today, I'm supposed to wire the money for the 3rd trimester.
Did you remind them?
Not yet, but I will. And it's a ton of money.
Inshallah.
And I show them, and I'm like,
just so you know,
yeah,
a day in your life
just for
costs,
you to not forget.
A day in your life costs this, guys. So yeah.
So
no, but it's a great way, and I think
so that's where time comes. When
and we were talking about it earlier as well. I think, you know, with maturity, we learn and we understand, and with lessons we learn, things. You know, who to keep around us, you know, what it really means to spend the time.
You know, in the course of 2024, we had a sort of campaign on our Insta page. And we wanted to emphasize, so to answer your earlier question, how do you tell people about that? And when we speak about Magana, we never speak about, you know, look at our craftsmanship and look at our this, because we do as well as the other guys.
Yeah.
You know,
everyone does it.
The watch is really pretty. It's well built. Please buy it. It's well put together. It works. It's
well
efficient.
Priced.
It's well priced, etc. But this is not what we stand for. This is just an expression of what we stand for. What do we stand for? And our campaign throughout last year and probably for this year as well is, when was the last time you ... And it can be anything. So something stupid. We could play the game actually.
Yeah.
When was the last time, Rania, you randomly called somebody you care about that you haven't spoken to in forever?
Yeah, I've done that quite recently.
When was the last time you did it?
After the event last time?
No, walked out of the event last time. Okay, randomly without a reason, you mean?
Yeah, without
a
reason. Just to check. No, just to check in.
Just to check in without any reason.
Without no reason whatsoever.
Oh no, there's a reason. Yeah, sure.
I mean, look, I have to be honest. Sometimes people will come to my mind, and then yes, it'll be a little bit okay. You know, should I not? To be honest, because again, it's like, I'm going to be very frank. Not everyone that you don't speak to often you want to speak to as well. So, but I feel like when people do come to your mind, it's definitely for some reason, especially if you, I guess, are kind of attuned to things and, you know, but do I do it enough? Probably not.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Okay. When was
I like to speak to people I like.
No, but I'm talking about people you like. I told you how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scroll.
I actually,
in your
you know,
phone,
on my way here. On my way
you
here.
You like everyone that's in your phone?
No, but hang on. So you mistook my message.
Yeah.
My message was.
Well, yeah.
You scroll.
Yeah.
So I did it on my way here.
Okay.
So my message was, you open this. So I'm showing, this is my contact list, right?
Oh yeah, you're there, yeah.
And I do this.
Yeah.
I stop. Now, I read the names. Mohammed Basyouni, yeah, not gonna call him.
Oh
Nino Batika, not gonna call him.
Okay, so you do that. It's not like every...
It's not whoever pops in you call.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not the idea. It's, I read the page, and when I see somebody like Saïda Ben Hayoun, a great friend from high school
that you haven't
spoken to in maybe a year.
Just time made you not.
She now lives in Amsterdam.
Okay.
I'm gonna call her.
Call her now.
Call her now. Not live.
Hang on.
Oh, you are?
You want me to? I'm happy to.
I mean, sure.
I mean, no.
Yeah?
I'll call her later.
But
so
minutes.
On my way here, I called. I called this great friend I haven't spoken to in forever, and when people pick up, I explain.
Oh, you do. You tell
Yeah,
them.
I
Yeah.
explain. I'm like, look, once a week,
I play this game.
I play this game. It's like Russian roulette,
Yeah.
but in a very good
And
way.
you won. You won.
Yeah.
You won this time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it fell on you. Do you have 5 minutes? Sure. And we catch up.
Yeah,
and,
that's a lovely. Honestly, that's such a nice.
the idea is not call somebody you don't want to talk to. No,
Yeah,
no. Read the names and you get to pick. And if no one on the page makes sense, keep going.
Yeah.
But call somebody.
But call reach out to somebody. Yeah, we're
right,
all
you.
connected.
When was the last time?
Mhm.
When was the last time you went for a run?
Sorry?
Oh,
Run?
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you run?
yes, no, I don't run. So yesterday I went for 2 hours bike ride.
Okay.
oh wow.
And a month ago, I actually went for a run.
All right.
Yeah.
When was the last time you read a book on a topic you knew nothing about?
I read a lot.
I know.
A lot of it is fiction, but I actually just picked up a book that a friend of mine recommended.
Okay.
So which I have not. I think I have.
When do you read?
Huh?
When do you have the time to
At
read?
night, she doesn't slouch in front of Netflix.
I don't.
Like all of
I
us
don't
do.
too.
You don't even have a TV.
No, I do, but I don't.
He does, but that would be actually good.
Yeah.
I had one rule, like there's no TVs in the bedroom.
Yeah, I wish I could follow that rule, but it's not just my bedroom.
Really?
I really hope she won't watch this.
Mm.
Anyways,
And
what
she
I'm
will
trying to say
definitely
is
watch
that
it. We'll cut out something there.
Exactly.
the campaign point was
yeah.
to give people ideas, because here's the calculation. What time do you wake up in the morning?
Like 7,
What time do you go to bed at night?
like 1,
1 a.m.? So you're awake 18
Okay.
hours?
kind of, yeah.
All right. So you're awake 18 hours. How many of these hours go for work? 10?
Yeah, I mean, quite a
10 hours.
substantial. I try to make it less, but yeah.
All right. 10 hours. You're left with 8. How many of those 8 do you spend on traffic? In traffic?
No, I'm lucky because I live close to work.
So let's say an hour.
Yeah.
An hour a day. You're left with 7. Out of the 7, you probably have about 2 hours of meals.
Mm-hmm.
So you're left with 5.
Not even, but yeah.
Oh,
Huh?
2 hours of meals.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
In which life? Breakfast 5 minutes, lunch 10.
Yeah, and then an hour and a half having dinner.
Okay.
All right.
Mm.
So you're left with 5. Okay. From the 5 hours, you spend roughly, let's say, well, you're a woman, so it's probably more than 45 minutes. An hour and a half, bathroom, doing the hair, the makeup, whatever. You're still left with 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with those?
Exercise for
Okay,
sure.
So that's 1 hour. So you still
Yeah,
one and a
I mean,
half left.
1.5 because in and out and
And then
stuff.
you have an hour and a half left in the day.
Reading, listening to
Scrolling.
music, a little bit of scrolling, but catching up
Okay.
with people.
What
With
voila. So
friends.
what I try to say as a brand is that most of your hours on a weekday are spoken for by the necessities of life,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
But you still have a few hours left.
Use
That are
them
yours
wisely.
and yours only.
Yeah.
You are the master of those couple of hours.
Yeah.
You get to decide who to spend them with,
Mm-hmm.
what to spend them with. And what I'm trying to say as a brand is make time for who and what matters.
Yeah.
And sometimes who and what matters is you. You yourself, your own well-being, your own
Development of your thought, of your ideas, whatever
Well, you
it
do
is.
need to
I mean,
spend
it's-
time with yourself. That's for sure.
you know
I think people take it for granted. Even with this conversation, I didn't think, but I feel I spend quite a bit of time with myself. I think
Yeah.
it's important.
Most of us don't know how to be alone. Most of us don't know how to be alone with our
Oh,
own
I love.
thoughts.
Your own thoughts?
I enjoy it.
No,
Enjoy
I
it.
do that quite often. That's what I love
Yeah.
cycling.
Do you guys meditate?
Yeah.
I do. Every day.
Really?
Yeah, every day. First thing that I do, I wake up, meditate, and I pray.
Excellent.
But same, and I think maybe that's the thing as well that I find interesting. Just because, again, you were talking about social media,
Mm.
and it's like, obviously, everyone has a persona, and everyone wants to build a certain, image or something, yes, you're in fashion and this and that, and I work in PR and Comta. And then so people love to assume that then you're not
You're without
spiritual.
substance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you're literally, and
Yeah.
it's like, I don't need to tell the world, I'm not looking to be some guru or to have people think I'm in a certain way just so that they can, in their mind,
No,
exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
not, like, it's just so, I find it so
So I'll tell you
funny
something funny
somehow,
about that.
to be honest.
So Wednesday 19 we had the event, but I did the pre-event on the 17th
Yeah.
for the watch freaks.
Yeah.
Okay, my community of people that I know who love watches, who are into watches, and who wouldn't have been comfortable on the
With
Wednesday
the,
event. Now one of them, his name is Hafs, Scottish guy, originally Iraqi. He has an Insta page called Caffeinated Horology, and he films people and he says, "What's on your wrist?" And you get to talk about your watch and whatnot. The guy is genuinely passionate, and I hope he won't mind me saying this. But his day job, he's a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that until that evening. So he came up to me and was like, "Oh, your son's here. He's brilliant. He's wearing a watch. Would you mind, as his dad, would you mind if I film him for my page?" Sure, go ahead. And then we start talking, and I ask him, "Well, that's obviously not your day job. What do you do?" And the guy says, "I'm a teacher." And we look around us and I'm like, "Dude, out of all of us, you're the one guy who's doing something useful." Think about it. What I do for a living, I sell stuff to people. They don't need the stuff I sell, and they buy it with money they probably don't have because they use credit cards, or they would ask for 2-3 terms to pay, and they buy that stuff mostly to impress other people that they probably don't like.
True.
That's the definition of luxury.
It's how the world's been spinning for quite some time. Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
But
But
that's
look at
what I
how
do.
luxury is
Yeah.
doing right now. I think things are changing.
Quite well.
Things are shifting quite a bit, no?
Don't worry about it. It'll adapt.
Don't worry, it will come.
It'll
No,
adapt.
I mean, I'm not saying that it will adapt, but it will need to adapt, right?
No,
Yeah,
it will need to
it
adapt.
I mean, let's also
We'll
talk.
find a way.
Yeah, but it's been sorry, I mean, we're pivoting a bit,
No,
but
no,
it's been insane how over the last few years, when it's been so tough for people since COVID, and luxury has just kept on increasing its pricing. So they haven't adapted to the rest of the world. They've adapted to those who are in crypto, or you know what
But
I
that's the
mean?
goal.
It's
But
not
they also keep growing.
yeah
There's
until
more and more millionaires.
until what's happening now.
But until there is another place that's gonna start to grow millionaires.
So interesting.
Well-
In your opinion, is there usefulness to the luxury industry?
I mean, we all have to get dressed.
It depends.
Not in luxury.
It depends on how you looked at it.
No, so
Usefulness. I mean,
I would say for
use-
me, no.
usefulness is a big word. Absolutely,
There's
of
a
course
lot of
not.
stuff that is not useful. There's
course
then
not.
a lot of stuff.
If you're
But-
comparing it to food or water, or I mean, shoes are. I
yeah,
would
but
say
you don't need a $2,000 pair of shoes.
To walk, yeah, definitely.
no,
you don't need.
You're right.
Okay.
Like you don't. It's the extra value that actually are giving to
It's
anything.
what we think makes us happy as humans, isn't it?
It's a fulfillment. It's
So hang on. It's interesting. So luxury to me,
Mm.
it has at least two raisons d'être.
Okay.
Raisons d'être.
People use that.
The first one
It's like you're seeing next
is
to
it safeguards and it protects certain know-hows, certain crafts.
Mhm.
If it weren't for luxury, for instance, in the industry of watchmaking, if it weren't for luxury, the art of enameling would have disappeared.
Yeah,
If-
true.
If it weren't for luxury, some leather makers, some crafts are the results of hundreds of years of improvements and learnings, and it's part of a human culture. Losing those is a sad thing.
Yes,
The
but it
luxury
doesn't
industry saves
justify the
those.
price. It doesn't. No, it
Hang
doesn't
on, hang on.
justify the pricing. Doesn't
Put
justify
the
that
pricing
brands
aside.
raise on average 12%.
I'll tell
no?
you.
I'm being
But it's-
devil's advocate right
Hang
now.
on.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the usefulness of luxury.
Sure.
That's something. That's what you're saying is something else. The second reason why luxury is useful, you remember the hierarchy of needs by Maslow.
Mm-hmm.
So at the bottom, the most important needs, you need to eat, otherwise you die.
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
water,
Yeah.
you need shelter, etc. And right spot in the middle, I think there are 5 levels. In the center, you have the need to belong.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
You need to
Yeah.
belong to a family, you need to belong to a tribe, to a nation, etc. Luxury makes you belong to a community. You
Oh
know?
yeah, we were talking
We
about
talked
that,
about
but
it.
but
Talk
it's
about
not
it in
just
episode.
but that's
Today,
not just luxury.
Let's be
That's
honest.
any consumer goods. That's not strictly
100%,
for luxury,
100%.
right?
But
Yeah.
But
luxury is one of those.
It
Yeah,
just makes it
definitely.
a little bit more what we discussed before, elitist, right? At
Yes,
the end,
yeah.
that's the reality.
But
it's the elitist community.
Omar, was more than a pleasure to have you with us.
It felt
It
very
was really good.
comfortable. Thank you.
Yeah, and it was good
Thank
because
you.
honestly, it has been more today, I would say, a conversation, an exchange. And thank you so much for your time. Again.
Thank you for yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it literally was a 80 right moment for you or not?
What?
A 80 moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
At, not 80, at.
Okay.
At well spent by all of us.
Okay, perfect.
And we
Good.
barely, we normally have our phones checking our DMs because that's the show.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
But we made an exception this time so
See,
that we could
I
give
don't receive
you
that many DMs, to be honest.
all our at.
No, actually, we do exchange DMs like every day, but
Yeah, but yeah,
We'd
it's-
like-
you can't put that on.
What kind of DMs do you guys exchange?
you know what? I'll put you in the
Okay.
loop.
No,
No, I don't know if I want to be part of
talk
this.
about Rick.
Oh,
No, what? Ricky Gervais?
Mm.
Yeah.
Ricky it's that kind of dark humor.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I mean, Ricky Gervais is a sweetheart compared to what we share.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ricky Gervais, if you watch this, please reach out. I'd love to do a collab with
To
him.
them, not to me.
Hey, you can dress him.
Huh?
You can dress him.
And you couldn't
La-
put a watch on him. Omar,
No,
thank you.
he doesn't care.
Thank
No,
you.
thank you, guys.
We can't
Thank
wait
you.
to see what's next.
Exactly.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
No idea what
And,
it will be, but sure.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, but really. Okay.
Yalla, it's a wrap.
Yalla.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.